here at Bayes University in the hospital. Please keep watching Global TV on Star Times channel 276.
Global Television, building the nation. Global Television, building the nation.
Good evening and welcome to the News Prime. In the headlines, former Zamfara Governor Sani Yerima visits President Tinubu, calls for dialogue with bandits. Tinubu newly appointed service chiefs meet at Aso Rock, pledge to secure Nigeria, and in business, Tinubu meets Shell Up, Stream Director Yovnovich Career. I am Judith Peters. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with the new service chief in a closed-door meeting. State House correspondent Prince Adegoke reports that the meeting, which concluded hours ago at the presidential villa, was attended by the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General C.G. Musa, Chief of Army Staff, Major General T.A. Lagbaja, Chief of Air Staff, AVM H.B. Abubakar, Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ikechukwu Ogala, and Acting Inspector General of Police, DIG Kayode Ogbetokun.
Well, we are here to thank Mr. President for the opportunity he gave us to serve our country.
Speaking after the meeting, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, said the president has appointed quality people and they will deliver improved security to Nigerians. He thanked the president for the opportunity to serve the country, noting that Tinubu assured them of his readiness to secure Nigeria.
We thank him very much. We also pledge our loyalty to him and to Nigeria and Nigerians. We believe that the choice he made is the right one, the correct one, and we know what he wants for this country. We are going to work tirelessly to ensure that we accomplish that objective of securing our country, establishing peace, stability, and let's get our lives back. He gave us a work to be done.
Recall that Tinubu, shortly before his recent trip to Paris, France, to attend the financial summit, had jolted the nation when he sacked the former service chiefs and announced new ones as replacements. President Tinubu also appointed the former chairman of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Nuhu Ribadu, as the National Security.
A former Zamfara governor, Sani Yerima, has asked President Bola Tinubu to dialogue with bandits, just as the late former President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua dialogued with Niger Delta militant. Yerima stated this while speaking with State House reporters after paying a congratulatory visit to the president at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa in Abuja. Our correspondent, Prince Adegoke, has details.
Yerima stated that he firmly believes that Nigerian security agencies, with adequate support, possesses the capability to handle the security situation in the country, adding that they have all the necessary resources to do so. He identified ignorance and poverty as the driving factors behind people resorting to banditry, emphasizing that only illiterates will take up arms and kill innocent people.
I believe that Nigerian government has the capacity, the military, the security, have the capacity to deal with them immediately if so directed, if they are given the resources they require, the support and political will. But the collateral damages that will be associated with the actions that will be taken is what I believe should be avoided.
The former Zamfara governor added that if dialogue with bandit fails, then the government can use force on them wherever they are.
You see, I'm not making a case for bandit. I'm just proposing a solution to banditry in Nigeria. The bandits, a lot of them have been killed, a lot of them have been arrested, and I'm not saying that the government should just continue to just negotiate indefinitely. No, I said invite them. There are people who repent in all religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. You find that God himself who created us, once you repent after committing offenses, after committing sin, he forgives you. So there is no way you can say Nigerians should not be forgiven for if they repent. If they repent, they should be rehabilitated and integrated in the society. To most of them, they are recruiting Nigerians. We are talking of Nigerians. If Nigerians don't give them the support, if there is no poverty and ignorance among the Nigerians that are being recruited, this will just end, will not continue.
Yerima's advocacy for dialogue with bandits comes on the heels of an increasing spate of indiscriminate killings and kidnapping for ransom across the country.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Sunday afternoon returned to Abuja from Lagos 13 days after he left to attend the summit on New Global Financing Pact in Paris, the capital of France. The president had left Abuja on June 20 to participate in the summit that held in the French capital, from where he left for London on a private visit. Upon his return to Nigeria, he made a stop in Lagos on Tuesday, June 27, to observe the Eid al-Kabir festival in his home at Lagos. While away from Abuja, President Tinubu had participated in the New Global Financing Pact signing in the Paris. He also held various other diplomatic meetings on the sidelines of the main event. While in Paris, he met with the French President Emmanuel Macron at the Elysee, the Swiss President Alain Berset at Palais Bonnade, President of Benin Republic Patrice Talon, Director General of World Trade Organization Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, President of the African Development Bank Dr. Akinwumi Adesina. In the meantime, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while in Lagos, had played host to his Republic of Guinea-Bissau counterparts. President Umaru Sissoco Embalo, Special Advisor to President Tinubu on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy. Dele Alake made this known to State House correspondents following President Embalo's visits to the President Tinubu at his Ikoyi, Lagos residence. This was disclosed in a statement signed by Abiodun Oladunjoye, the Director of Information in the Office of the President and the State House. Alake told reporters that while the visit was of a private nature, President Embalo took the opportunity to express his solidarity and willingness to cooperate with Nigeria under the leadership of President Tinubu. He also highlighted that the visit allowed Embalo, who is currently the chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, to reinforce the fraternal relations between the two countries.
The president of Guinea-Bissau came to visit the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but it was strictly a private visit. It wasn't anything official at all. It was a private visit, and we had to be on hand to receive him. And our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, received him very warmly, untypical of what we saw in the past. You know, he was very forthcoming, he was very expressive. He expressed his solidarity with the president of Nigeria and his readiness to cooperate with Nigeria at all times and with our current president. And he commended the laudable and, policy initiatives of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 1 month. And he said that everybody in the world, in the international community, have been commending his giant strides. So he came to pay his solidarity and to pay courtesy call, as it were, and to bond with him as a brother African head of state in the first instance, and in particular as a brother West African ECOWAS head of state, in general. And they also spoke about the forthcoming ECOWAS meeting, which is very imminent, and spoke on other areas of cooperation. But generally speaking, it was a very strictly private visit.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Monday in Abuja began its defense of the February 25th presidential election on a shaky note, with none of its 3 witnesses present at the Presidential Election Petition Court, PEPC. Contrary to the scheduled activities of the court, INEC, which conducted the disputed election and built to open the fence, came to the court presenting no witness. Chidima Jerison has more.
Counsel and the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, Abubakar Balarabe Mahmood San, informed the court of witnesses to counter the allegations of the Labour Party LP and its presidential candidate, Peter Gregory Obi. He, however, lamented that none of his witnesses was in court due to domestic reasons for him to open the defense. The senior lawyer pleaded with the court to bear with him and applied for adjournment of his defense. However, lead counsel to Peter Obi, Livy Uzoku San, expressed shock and surprise with the conduct of the electoral proceedings.
More than a week, we thought that they would have been ready, because on our part we prepared so well that we were ready to embark on a demolition work. But that is their case. They came to court and said that they wanted to. They proposed to have 3 witnesses today. The first one was unavailable due to domestic reasons. We were not told what happened to the other 2. Therefore, they're asking for adjournment to tomorrow. We are ready to come here tomorrow, but I have a hunch that given the contradictions and inconsistencies and what INEC has done, I'm sure that they are not ready to defend this case. I stand to be proved wrong. But I will wish that they defend this matter so that the public will come to see more things, what happened during this election.
However, Wole Olanipekun San, who stood for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Prince Lateef Olatunkanmi Fagbemi San, who represented the All Progressives Congress APC, did not object to request for adjournment of INEC's plea for the case to be shifted. Presiding Justice of the Court, Justice Haruna Samani, subsequently fixed the new dates of July 4 for the electoral body.
The National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, says those who forge its discharge or exemption certificate risk jail term, option of fine, or both as penalties. The Director of Legal Services of the Corps, Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim, said this on Monday in Abuja during the 2023 Legal Officers Capacity Building Training. According to Ibrahim, the NYSC Act contains all the infrastructure and that people should know about. He said the punishment in the first place is that those who commit such infrastructure will be arrested, while the police will charge them to court. At that point, Ibrahim said the police will be left with the responsibility of prosecution and the courts to decide whether to imprison or fine such individuals. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has assured that the 10th National Assembly would strive to positively address issues on climate change. Kalu said this in a statement in the commemoration of the 2023 International Day of Parliament. Kalu said the International Day of Parliament was a global issue introduced in 2018 by the United Nations General Assembly resolution. The Deputy Speaker explains that climate change was negatively affecting lives by destroying lives and property development, peace and security all over the world, and by adopting greener policies and embracing a culture of sustainability, Parliament can help in addressing the crisis caused by climate change. He assured Nigerians and the key stakeholders on climate change issues that as the parliament settles down, they would prioritize climate change issues. Residents of Trademore Estate in Lugbe area of Abuja on Monday shut their gates in protest against the planned demolition of structures in the estate by officials of the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA. This comes days after the estate was declared a disaster zone following flash floods that submerged houses and vehicles in the estate over a week ago. The residents are demanding that the government should improve the waterways in order to tackle the persistent flooding in the area. As opposed to demolition buildings, however, the Federal Capital Territory Authority has stated that buildings on waterways in the estate and other areas will be demolished.
Over 150 houses in Trademore Estate in Lugbe area of the Federal Capital Territory is about to be demolished due to flooding. At a peaceful protest in Abuja, the residents call on the federal government to put infrastructure in place to end the consistent flooding instead of rendering over thousands of people homeless.
It hasn't taken us this long to cry out. We've always engaged government. And when you engage government, they will say to you they will do certain things. As law-abiding citizens, what we have done was to go back and wait for government to do what they needed to do. But unfortunately, each time they failed us. Now, if you know what is happening in Lagos, even when the present president was governor, they chased away the sea. They samfilled the sea, right? And then their houses built on those lands today, okay? Because they needed more space. In Abuja, what government is saying they want to do right now is to demolish homes and send people on the street. There are about 20,000 people living here.
Residents are pleading with the government to provide an expansion and proper drainage canal so as to have free flow of water during the rain season.
But since they did this road, the flooding started. And if you take note, if you look at the height where the water level is, if you look at the height, you can see the sign on the house. You can see that it's the same height with the road. The problem is the road. As much as the road was good intervention, because it was terrible for the people, since they've made this road, constructed this road, the flooding started.
We only noticed in recent times that the water flow started to overflow its boundary. Upon further personal inquiry within ourselves, we discovered that a lot of people have, they have tampered with the flow of the water, which is before and after Trademore Estate. The water issue is not limited to Trademore Estate. It's a global problem, and it has to be solved as such.
Majority of Trademore have started what they know how to do with impunity by closing the channels through which the water can pass through and go to the normal channel, and then they block them, build houses, and the only way through which the water can flow is Trademore, because Trademore is at a slope.
Buildings in the Trademore Estate had been marked for demolition. Years after years, warnings have been sent, but the residents in the estate keep risking their lives and those of others. Sandra Akpa reporting for Global TV News.
Enugu State government has dissolved all task forces of commercial tricycle, popularly known as keke, in the state till further notice. The permanent secretary in the State Ministry of Transport, Mr. Ogbonna Idike, said this in Enugu after a meeting with the executives and members of the Commercial Tricycle Union. The meeting was conducted by the Ministry of the Sidelines of peaceful protest held by some members of the Tricycle Union on Friday over harassment and extortion by Tricycles task force members. Operating within the Enugu metropolis, Idike said that dissolution affected both legally and illegally constituted task forces for tricycles operators, adding that the dissolution was with immediate effect because the ministry before now was not aware of this negative and inhuman development. He therefore said that the state government, through the ministry, will streamline and sanction all transport union task forces to conform to best practices and standards, as well as ensure that hoodlums and thugs do not hijack such exercises. The Army War College Nigeria has witnessed a change in leadership as Major General Ishaya Buba Maina assumed the commandant of the college, taking over from Major General Bamidele Ali Alabi, who has been posted to 1 Division Nigeria Army, Kaduna as General Officer Commandant GOC. The transition ceremony was held at the college conference room of the institution on 30 June 2023. In his farewell remarks, outgoing Commandant Major General Alabi expressed his heartfelt appreciation to the entire staff of AWCN for their unwavering support during his tenure. He acknowledged their collective efforts in elevating the college's standard and emphasized the importance of extending the same support and cooperation to the new commandant. Major General Alabi reflected on the remarkable accomplishments achieved under his leadership and attributed them to the dedication and commitment of the college staff. He urged them to continue striving for excellence and to offer their utmost support to the new commandant as he takes on the reins of the AWCN. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has rejected the Core Curriculum Minimum Academic Standard, CCMAS, prepared by the National University Commission. The union said it was nightmarish, a threat to quality universities and education, and an erosion of powers of the University Senate in Nigeria universities. National President of ASU, Emmanuel Osodeke, said it was inexplicable that NUC prepackaged 70% CCMAS contests were being imposed on the Nigeria university system, adding that university senates, who are statutorily responsible for academic program development, were left to work on only 30%. Osedeku said that there were growing concerns about the numerous shortcomings and gross inadequacies of the CCMAS document, and although many universities were dissatisfied, they were shying away from making public comment on CCMAS. You're watching News Prime on Global TV, coming to you live on StarTimes channel 276 from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Do well to follow us across all social media platforms at Global TV NG. When News Prime returns, Tinubu meets Shell Upstream Director Yovnovich Kari in a bid to drive investment. We'll be back with these and more stories right after the break. Thank you for staying with us. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with Shell Global Upstream Director Zoe Yovnovich at the presidential villa, also at Kari. The meeting is President Tinubu's first engagement after the Salah Festive and his foreign trips to France on June 20 and London on June 24. Yovnovich, who assumed office as Upstream Director on July 1st, has been a member of the Shell Executive Committee since 2021. Consultations with leaders from the oil and gas sector since his administration came on board. It forms part of ongoing consultations with leadership from the oil and gas sector since his administration discontinued petroleum subsidy on May 29. The president had previously met with the ExxonMobil executives Liam Mallow, Richard Lang, and Adesua Dozie at the State House. Ogun State government says it has embarked 1 billion naira of about 1,500 business owners across the 20 local governments of the state as operational grants for micro and small-scale enterprises in the state. The 1 billion naira grants disbursement, which is part of the economic stimulus by Governor Dapo Abiodun in conjunction with the federal government and World Bank, started last week with the screening and assessment of over 1,500 operators of micro, small and medium-scale enterprises. MES selected from the 20 councils, speaking in Abeokuta, the state capital, during the enumeration and vetting of the beneficiaries. Dapo Okubadejo, the governor's chief economic advisor, said it was to control the negative effects of COVID-19 on the MSEs. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAF, has urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to urgently publish details of spending of about 400 billion naira so far saved as a result of the removal of the subsidy on premium motor spirits, popularly known as petrol. It was urged by SERAF to provide details of the plans on how subsequent savings from the removal of premium motor spirit subsidy would be used, including specific projects on which the funds would be spent and the mechanism that have been put in place to ensure that all such savings are not embezzled, misappropriately, or diverted into private pockets. According to the report, the federal government had saved 400 billion naira in the 4 weeks following the implementation of policy and the removal of petrol subsidy payments. SERAF Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, in a statement, said the government has a legal responsibility to ensure that the savings from the removal of subsidy on petrol are spent solely for the benefit of the 137 million poor Nigerians who are bearing the brunt of the removal, and Nigerians have the right to know how the savings are spent. Pakistan, currently facing an economic crisis, will become the fourth largest borrower from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, receiving in a $3 billion loan over the next 9 months. This will move Pakistan up from 5th place. The country's economy has been struggling for years, resulting in high inflation and difficulties for the population. The loan will help address balance of payment crisis caused by the war in Ukraine and domestic challenges. Debt-strapped Pakistan will become the fourth largest IMF borrower in the world after receiving a fresh loan of $3 billion in the next 9 months under the standby arrangement reached with the global lender. Pakistan, which is facing its worst economic crisis since independence from Britain in 1947, was on March 31st, 2023, ranked 5th in the list of countries with the highest borrowing from the multilateral institution. However, Pakistan will move to the 4th place in this list when it receives another $3 billion in the next 9 months. Under the standby arrangement made with the Washington-based global leader on Thursday, world record holder Toby Amuson has stumped to her first Diamond League win this season in Stockholm on Sunday. In what was her second Diamond League race for the season, she clocked 12.52 to win the race on the slippery track. Before her first win of the season on Sunday, the holder has improved steadily in the current athletics season, lowering her time significantly in the space of 3 weeks. The Nigerian ran a season's best of 12:47 seconds and placed third behind Olympic champion Jasmine Kamaku. Queen and American Star Jones at the Estroval Golden Spike meet last week. The world champion is confident of improving her form ahead of this year's national trials in Benin City to select Nigeria's representatives to the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary in August. Fidelis Iyeguwena has the rest of the report.
The wife of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, during the sent-forth dinner in honor of the Super Falcons at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja, has charged the ladies to build capacity, embrace team spirit, and pull their skills together to stand tall at the 9th FIFA Women's World Cup final, starting in Australia and New Zealand less than 3 weeks away. In the speech read on the First Lady's behalf by the national women leader of the APC, Dr. Betta Edu, you are the shining star and pride of Africa. I charge you to go all out and do your very best to dominate other teams and become the pride of the entire world. In attendance also were the Permanent Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, Alhaji Ismaila Abubakar, Deputy Governor of Edo State, Comrade Philip Shaibu, the President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gusau, and a host of others. Fidelix Iyeguwena for Global Television News.
And to end the primetime news on Global TV, let's remind you of our top stories. Former Zamfara Governor Sani Yerima has visited President Tinubu and called for dialogue with bandits. President Tinubu has met with newly appointed service chiefs at Aso Rock with a pledge to secure Nigeria. And in business, we told you Tinubu has met with Shell Upstream Director and NNPCL Group Chief Executive. I am Judith Peters. That's it for On News Prime on Global TV, which came to you from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times Channel 2.